Hey, in grading the Story Structure Khan Academy Minor Beats assignment, I got some great examples that I would love to share with you because I think that they can definitely help us grow. So, first of all, this structure really works well if you know in the but then section what it is that the problem is that they're going to have to try to solve by the finally section. Because if you don't, then you might get to the until finally, and you get to a point where you're like, well, I don't know what goes on with the story. They just continue having a good life. So make sure your but then section has something going on that, now they got to solve this problem, or, this is going to lead to a big problem in the long run, or this is going to lead to something that teaches them something. That way, the until finally can be the teaching something. That's where they make a big change in their life or a big decision that fixes things, and then it moves to the and ever since then. So this student, I love this student because she reached out when she was stuck with her story, and this may be what's going on with some of you. She got to a point in her story and she was like, well, I don't know what to do now. It sounds like a pretty good story. It did start off as a pretty good story, but where do I take it from here? So here's the story. Once upon a time, there was an ordinary teenage girl. She lived normally. And we want something a little bit more detail there so that we can get a sense of her life. So a normal, boring life. So then we're kind of getting a sense of the problem is her life is boring. But then she realized that she could understand dogs. Ooh, very interesting. Because of that, she started to volunteer at an animal shelter. Makes sense. Because of that, she rescued a lot of animals and met a guy who can also understand dogs. Okay. Because of that, they were getting a good reputation at the shelter. Until finally, but everything's going good. So why change everything around with until finally? So I gave her some suggestions like maybe the guy should be part of the problem in every day, but she was a little lonely. So until finally she realizes, now she has the companion of both man and dog. And she kind of has to choose, like maybe the until finally is he starts to get jealous of all the attention she's giving dogs. I don't know. So make sure you're setting up a problem in here that can be solved by the until finally. I have some suggestions I posted here, which may be good for all of you. Until finally is the point where it rises to a peak as she realizes she has the opposite problem that she had in the beginning. So if you're getting stuck on what could be the until finally, try to just switch the problem from what was the beginning. And then the ever since then should be that point where you kind of let us know what happened to solve that problem and how's life been going since. The moral of the story has to deal with your problem. So something about busyness and boredom. That's a good example for more reasons than that. But here's another. Here's a good story. So I just want to tease you with this story and see if you like it as much as I do. Okay, so there was a normal teenage girl in a normal teenage school. So now we're seeing normal again. So something about the problem is she needs things to change. So every day she would draw and make up stories of her own. She's never really thought that they would go anywhere. Okay, so she's not standing out in her normal everyday life. That's part of the problem. She noticed that somebody was following her. So until she noticed that somebody was following her and reading her stories. She kept noticing them across the school, everywhere she went. I'm like, ooh, there's a stalker and it involves her stories. This is interesting. She started confronting them and telling them, why are they following her? They quickly respond with something she had never heard of before. You are in danger. Anti-plagiarists are coming for you. The girl didn't believe them and continued with her day. Because of that, this. Because of that, this. Because of that, this. But isn't that a nice tease? A nice story gets you interested. And it's something that up to this point could be filmed. These are some great story lead-ins that we want because these will capture your viewer and make them want to see how does this solve. Okay. One thing that she did though is she went through and she posted what she'd need to add more on each one. that doesn't really break down into minor beats. So this one is a great example of how to break down one beat, one major beat, into minor beats. And she does a great job of explaining exactly what she would want in her scene. So look at this example as your model for what to do for the minor beats section of your assignment. The final thing that I wanted to share is just with theme. A lot of stories have a theme that seems real simple, like you could simply explain it, such as things can change for the better, don't con people, and with Jurassic Park, don't raise dinosaurs. But if you keep thinking about it, there's probably a more complex thing they're saying behind it. So to get a stronger theme, I'm thinking in this one, guy plans to leave town. He ends up serving people in town with music. So he turned his perspective around from being one who wants to take advantage of people to being one who wants to enjoy the company of people. So to get a little bit deeper in that theme, you're going to do something more like, it's better to do this than to do that. So it's better to build up people, or you get more benefit from valuing people than valuing money and mistreating people. Something like that is a little bit more of something people can debate about. That's what gets you a strong thing, debate. With Jurassic Park, don't bring dinosaurs back to life. So Jurassic Park, some of the things that we're seeing are scientific advancements in that movie, because it's amazing that they have the capacity to bring dinosaurs back to life. And the lesson is, when you do that, you run the risk of things getting out of control. So I would say a stronger theme than don't do this or don't do that is science is a powerful thing, but you need to use it with caution. Not really debatable, maybe. So let's make that stronger. Scientific advancements should be, or how about this? You should not take something out of its time, even if you have the power to do so. That would be something people would argue with. So sometimes you have to dig around for a good theme, but the good themes are the ones that really engage people in the story and make them feel strongly about it. So try to find a good, strong theme when you're making your films.